Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you. You've stumbled across another episode of Coffee Talk with Carrie, where you can find weird, interesting, and fun-loving topics to bring with you into your everyday and discuss amongst yourselves. Today's topic is super weird. Now, full disclosure, every few days or so, I do delve into science news and things like that. If I can't find something that's super interesting to me, then I go back in time a little bit on those same websites, and I just choose something that's old to maybe you, but new to me. Maybe it's new to you too. So today's topic is gay frogs. I know. I'm sure that you probably heard about it from some very reputable news station like CNN, trying to tell you that some other news station is lying about gay frogs. But as it turns out, after I did some research, this stuff is true. So let's get right into it, guys. So as I have often done before, I'm using an article from Live Science. I will link that in the description down below. There's also going to be several other links today in today's story. I did quite a bit of research on this before I decided on what to use. This article basically sums it up pretty well, hits on a lot of things that will remind me what to talk about. And so I guess let's just go. So first off, this picture right here at the top, these are two frogs, they're doing it. And the one on the bottom, he was born male. And now after being exposed to this specific pesticide, he is no longer male. He acts as a female. He's able to produce eggs, make babies. And they do it a lot. Frogs make a lot of babies. I did not know that either. So let's go. So this article is called "Pesticide Turns Male Frogs into Females." And it is true. Now this is from 2010. I'm also going to put a link down below to a recent keynote speech on YouTube from Tyrone B. Hayes. It is from December of last year, and it kind of summarizes everything that he's been working on for the last super long time and all the conclusions that they're at right now. So let's keep going for now. The pesticide atrazine can turn male frogs into females that are able to mate and successfully reproduce. Here are two male frogs mating. The larger animal on the bottom has been completely feminized by atrazine exposure and can produce viable eggs. Okay, so this will come out later too, but the eggs are in fact viable, but because, and I'm not sure why this is, because the frog was male and then turned female, for whatever reason, the only eggs that he lays are always male. So that's weird. And you can see where that might become a problem if this happens in other species. But does it? Let's learn. All right, a commonly used pesticide known as atrazine can turn male frogs into females that are successfully able to reproduce, a new study finds. I'm linking to all that down below as well. There's a lot of information on this, and it's been going on for a while, so let's see. While previous work has shown atrazine can cause sexual abnormalities in frogs, there's a link within that too. At first, years ago when he started doing this, they were just finding that it was essentially turning the frogs gay. Like the male frogs that were introduced to this and they had the exposure for prolonged periods of time, they started to pick up more feminine qualities. Specifically, their testosterone levels would lower and their estrogen levels would raise. Other weird things like their vocal cords, their vocal boxes, which is what males use to call and to mate, those things were shrinking also, making it harder for them to find mates in that way. And that was before they were able to do the study long enough to even find out that at the end of this line, it's not just turning them gay, it's fully turning them into females for all intents and purposes, except for the fact that they can only make male babies at that point. Again, seems like another problem. So let's keep going here. All right, the results suggest that atrazine, which is a weed killer used primarily on corn crops, could have potentially harmful effects on populations of amphibians, animals that are already experiencing global decline. So they're saying that it's more of a problem because they're already having issues as it is. Little side note, this is just a weed killer for corn crops. I think, oh, they put that in there too. It's actually banned in Europe, but not here because, well, there's other stuff about that too. It's just crazy. The FDA is like, well, you get put on a number list, and yes, we know that it hurts things, but it also makes this guy a lot of money. So, I mean, that's not cool, guys. It's not cool. All right. So let's keep going down here. I don't know what that video is. Since atrazine interferes with the production of the sex hormone estrogen, present in people and frogs, the findings could have implications for humans as well. If you have problems in amphibians, you can anticipate problems in other animals, Hayes says. Now, this article does not explain it, but within his other studies and some other articles that were written about him, as well as the speech that is from him that I'm going to link down below, he talks about working with, I think, 22 other scientists from 4 other countries around the world, or 4 other continents around the world, figuring out if this atrazine also affects other vertebrate animals as well. And as it turns out, totally does. Like, they've got people doing it on rats and birds and other little things as well. So it is not just the frogs. This guy just really liked frogs, and that's what he decided to research about. So let's see. Sex change. Hayes and his colleagues raised 40 male African clawed frogs in water containing atrazine from when they were larvae and all the way until they were sexually mature. The atrazine levels were about what the frogs would experience in environments where the pesticide is used. So what they were trying to do is recreate the same environment to see specifically what was happening to them in this environment. Now, the scary part is the amount that they used was actually below levels that the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, considers safe for drinking water. Lower. So they used like a very small percentage of what it's okay for us to drink. Totally cool. Totally cool for us to drink this. They also had a controlled group with another 40 frogs that did not have any atrazine in it. So that way they could tell what was happening. So at the end of the experiment, which I believe, although it does not say in this article, it was a 3-year-long experiment. At the end of the experiment, all frogs in the atrazine-free group remain male. Good. Well, 10% of the frogs exposed to atrazine were completely feminized. Completely. So not just some eggs in the testes, which is what they were coming across a lot, but totally, completely feminized, where they were able to then reproduce 100% as a female, except for the fact they can only lay male eggs. Now, also in this article, doesn't state, but in the other ones that I will link down below again, there's another 10% of the frogs from the same group that were completely immune to it. Like, there was 0 effect. And they're trying to figure out what that is, if it's genetics, why 10% of the frogs had literally no effect from the atrazine, which is good because if they can isolate why that is, that's going to be the stronger ones that make it through. Now, of the remaining 80%, up to 50% of them from that study were feminized in some way. So they had eggs in their testes, they had smaller vocal cords, estrogen levels were completely through the roof while testosterone levels were lower. So I'm going to say like 10% totally feminized, but up to 50% after that 10% on their way there and just seeming to take a little bit longer. So 10% seems high to me, but then extremely high when you add in the fact that maybe the others were just a little slower on the getting to the lady parts. All right, you guys, this is kind of scary. We're going to keep going a little bit more. In both frogs and humans, sex is genetic. In people, females have 2 X chromosomes, while males have 1 X and 1 Y. For frogs, the sex chromosomes are labeled Z or W, females having dissimilar ones, just like in humans, so ZW, and males having matching ones, ZZ. Frogs exposed to atrazine also had reduced testosterone levels, which I have gone through a few times here, decreased fertility. I forgot to mention that also. So the ones that did make it out, that still were able to produce, their fertility rates were showing about 10% of what they could show. Now, when you put these frogs back into an environment where there are other frogs that still have their 100% virility, then those 10%, they're just not going to be able to do anything with that because, like, for one, they got tiny little vocal cords. They can't even call the ladies over. Another problem. I didn't like this. So implications of feminized males. The results indicate atrazine could contribute to amphibian population declines, along with climate change, habitat loss, and invasive species. Hayes notes that if feminized males do reproduce as females, they can only produce male offspring. I've mentioned that, and it is not a good thing, which further skews the population sex ratio, obviously. The pesticide could also cause problems for other species, including our own. Again, when Hayes, and I've looked at a few of his things now, when he started researching this, he was just super into frogs and like curious about the reproductive things, and then he got asked to do this study, and now what he's finding is that it's pretty terrifying for what the implications are on other species, including humans, for generations to come. Let's keep going. Atrazine mimics a biological compound and increases the production of estrogen. It has been shown to disrupt hormone levels in other animals as well as human cells. It has also been found to induce breast cancer in rats. Obviously, again, that's already been proven that estrogen or excess of is what makes breast cancer in everything, because it messes up the hurt cells, and then the hurt cells become, with more estrogen, then they become cancerous, blippity blah blah blah. So the same thing is happening in the males, it just adding more and more estrogen. So this is no good. This is no good. And I'd like to remind you again, what they tested, what they were able to successfully change a tiny little baby egg frog from a male into a female was like just a fraction of the amount that is allowed in our drinking water. And also, full disclosure, where I live, our drinking water is super taken care of. There's not even freaking fluoride in my water here, which might be why I still have the ability to reason. Who knows? So yeah, I'm relatively lucky in that our water is very protective. It's a small community. They've been fighting for this for a long time. So I feel safe enough to think that I don't have any of this problem in mine. But who knows? Sometimes I feel extra ladylike. All right, so we're almost through this article here. I know it's been a long one. So the good news is that humans don't live in water. That is good news. Frogs live primarily there the whole time, so they're literally absorbing it all the time, which might be the reason why they're assuming that the levels can be higher when we're just drinking it. Another one of the things I'm going to link to you below is a video, or maybe it was an article, I don't know. In any case, it's Tyrone Hayes again talking about how when they tested the amount of atrazine present in urine of the people who work in the fields and the people who distribute or put the atrazine out on the field, so separate from the person, like say they just take care of the corn afterwards. So there were different levels in each of these people who were near it, and the people who actually put the atrazine out on the field, the amount of atrazine in their urine was just an insane amount. Like his example, I think it was a video now that I think about it. His example was something like 2,400 times, 2,400 times he could dilute a dude's pee that peed into a thing and then be able to, man, I don't even know the numbers. It is insane. It was like 30 little baby eggs, like 2,400 times from just like a little ounce of pee or something, and he could, theoretically be able to turn all of these male frogs gay with this guy's little tiny bit of pee. And that's crazy to me. And then there are further studies done showing, like, in rats specifically, and some of the frogs, where there are different generations where even if they weren't exposed to atrazine, like the grandparent rat, the baby rat had side effects and horrible, horrible birth defects based on its grandparent being exposed to this chemical. So yeah, so let's read this last little thing and get this done with. Okay, problems with wildlife should still raise concern for us, Hayes says. Quote, anytime you see dramatic declines like we're seeing in amphibians and fish, we should recognize that we drink and we swim and we bathe in that same water, end quote. All right, so this article was from 2010. I am putting down the links to the other things that he published also. The video is from 2017, from December, so it's relatively recent with all of his findings. He does warn you in the video when you're watching, there are some hard images at the very end of the video, just a handful of side effects that can happen to kids that have the atrazine, and it's very sad to look at. So, you guys, I guess that's it. Gay frogs, there is some kind of thing. It's not doing very well for the amphibian community. They've done other tests on other animals, including birds and other, I don't think creepy crawlies, but rodents and birds definitely. It's a big deal. We drink this water. We don't want to use these pesticides. We don't want dudes being extra feminine. And side note, which is kind of funny, and I don't know if this is true at all or just speculation, but the video I'm linking below, Mr. Hayes has been working with atrazine for several years now, and in the first few videos I saw from him from like 10 plus years ago, around maybe 10, maybe not quite 10 years ago, he still looked about like the same dude, but now in the video I'm linking below, he's fully got long fingernails painted, he's wearing a pink pashmina sweater over his thing, and he's got bling on his ears, like fully earrings. So maybe his exposure has also been affecting him as well. I don't know if that's true or not, but seems like it could be. That's crazy to me. You guys, I'm so sorry this video is getting so long. Let's get right into our word of the day. Hopefully. Ah, there it is. Okay, so guys, we're almost done here. Our word of the day is eviscerate. It is a verb. Now, I thought this was very appropriate for today. It was actually this weekend's word of the day. I've got a little calendar here. To deprive of its essential content or force, damage or destroy. My sentence of today is atrazine eviscerates male frogs. It's messed up, bro, but it totally is true. It's kind of sad. I spent like an hour and a half plus looking up stuff about this morning, and it's a little bit crazy, but true. And I don't want people to become gay or become feminine because the frogs are doing it. We're learning about it so we can fix it. All right, as always, if you've made it this far in the video and you'd like an SBD reward, which nobody has got yet, go ahead and use today's word of the day down below in the comment section without making it too obvious that I'm offering any type of money, and I will reward you. So far, nobody's bit on this. I'm just guessing that you're bored by the end of this. To be honest, I would probably clicked off too. All right, guys, I think that's all for today. Thanks for dropping into Coffee Talk with Carrie. If you've got thoughts on today's show, and man, I want to know. So share those down below. And also, did you know? Contrary to popular belief, espresso has 1/3 of the caffeine of a cup of coffee simply due to serving sizes. So it's okay to have that triple this morning. Just do it. Just do it. Thanks, guys. And I will see you next time on Coffee Talk with Carrie.